And welcome everybody to Left, Right, Left Radio with yours truly, Big Sarge. Found out tonight that Facebook Live does not like Mozilla Firefox, so that's why we started a few minutes late. So apologies out there to each and everybody that's listening in right now, or watching in rather. So for future reference, for those who want to use Facebook Live, make sure that you use Google Chrome because it works the best. Well, got a lot to talk about tonight. Got my Army cup here. Little bit of something in there that we won't talk about. But lots to talk about. Boy, I'll tell you what, the news this week has been tremendous. The controversy alone, just over surrounding one particular person, happens to just generate a lot of talk throughout, the politics world. So, with that said, we have, just from the last time that we've started the radio show, or this Facebook Live post here, excuse me as I'm adjusting my little thing here, my pop filter. The last show, I'm pretty impressed. I want to thank everybody because I thought the first show was how can I put it? Your first show is not always your best show. You try the best you can. You go out there, especially with a new program like Facebook Live. But all things considered, we still had over 1,550 views and a lot more listens. So I appreciate everybody that listened in on the first show, and hopefully this one will be a little bit better. Now, we're probably only going to go for 45 minutes to an hour tonight because I promised my little one that I'd give her some time tonight. We got a movie lined up, so, she takes precedence over you all. So, no offense, but that's just the way it is. So with that said, and I got to watch, there's a lot of... Boy, I tell you what, there's a lot of controversy surrounding one particular person tonight, and I'm fired up. I want to get in there and I want to talk about it, but I got to do the welcome message first. So without further ado, I want to welcome everybody to Left, Right, Left Radio. You can see up in the upper left-hand corner, that is my Twitter tag. So please, if you're on Twitter, you tweet, whatever you want to call it, please get on, add us as a friend, follow us. We're tweeting all the time, so please... make sure that if you're following us, say something. Retweet what we put on, what we post, or be a part of the conversation. Speaking of which, I want to let everybody know on our Facebook page, Left Right Left Radio's Facebook page, we've had some really great conversations out there, and I want to thank a few people, Brad and Carrie in particular. The conversations are great. It's great that we can debate back and forth with each other. It's great that we can come to agree to disagree on certain topics and agree on certain topics. So, that's what makes this country great, and that's what makes we as Americans a great country. There's no other way to put it. It's great to see that people are debating the issues, and they're debating them civilly. Now, we're going to go over a lot of topics tonight. We have, of course, Capper. and forgive the... I call him Capper Dick, so forgive the pun on that, ladies and gentlemen, for you Capper Dick fans out there. Sorry about that. But we're going to talk about his mommy and daddy issues tonight. We're going to talk about Trump's visit to Mexico. We're going to touch briefly on that. I got some 6 picks that I'd like to talk about as far as... I took 6 great things, in my opinion, out of that whole visit. And, of course, the liberal left, we're going to talk about how they attack him in that spectrum. We're going to talk about, I'm going to give you a cancer update here in just a minute. And we're going to talk a little bit about Black Lives Matter. Yes, again. Because let me tell you something. There's a lot going on in this world, or at least this country, that pertains to the Black Lives Matter movement. And a lot of people, they're starting to get a lot of money from the more so from the left, of course, but they're starting to get a lot of money and they're starting to gain traction within the United States. And that's scary. That's really scary as far as I'm concerned, and in my opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that agree with me, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that disagree with me. But you know what? Like I said before, that's what makes America great. We can agree, we can disagree, as long as we civilly debate it. We're not out looting, rioting, turning over police cars, shooting each other in the streets. I think everything will be good to go after that. So let me give everybody a cancer update. I just was introduced to my new cancer doctor. Now, for those of you who don't know, I transitioned over from the VA because they couldn't help me as far as treatment is concerned. So they wanted to send me to Philly, and I didn't want to go to Philly. They wanted to send me to Pittsburgh, and of course Pittsburgh's too far away. So with that said, one thing led to another. They got me squared away, and I'm back to the Hershey area here, where the Hershey Cancer Institute, is going to be taking great care of me. I met my doctor this week. She's great. I really like her. I like her assistant. I like the whole staff. It seems to be a very friendly environment. And I think that they're going to get me in the right direction. They already talked about my treatment, what's going to transpire. I'm going to be there starting the 12th. For those of you in the area that want to come by and visit me, I'm going to be staying there for 5 days. They're going to meet me on the 12th. I'm actually going to be staying for 6 days till that Saturday, from the 12th to the 16th, I believe. And for those of you who want to come by, let me know. Hit me up on Facebook. I'll let you know what room I'm in. It's going to be in the Cancer Institute, so it's going to be on the 7th floor. I'll have my own private room, which is nice. So I'm probably going to be doing a few shows from there. I mean, maybe I might not talk about politics, but perhaps I'll talk about what's going on with me personally. And for those of you who want to view and listen in, thank you very much. And those you don't, no problem. So, Kaepernick. What can I say about this guy? Everybody has the right, and I mean this. I mean this, with all sincerity. Everybody has the right to protest. They have the right to. They have the right to speak their minds. And again, I'm going to be refreshing the Facebook Live feed, so I can see if there's anybody that wants to chime in as far as questions is concerned, comments, or anything that you want to add to the conversation. So feel free to chime in. I'm refreshing it periodically. I'll stop. I'll go to the questions here in midstream and try to field some questions, or even give you some props on some comments that you've said. So please become a part of the conversation on our Facebook page. And if you haven't hit like, come on, help us out. Invite all your friends. There's a little page, or there's a little thing as soon as you go to the main page, left, right, left, on the right-hand side. I believe it's on the right-hand side. It says, invite your friends to like this page. So invite them to like this page, or invite people that you think might enjoy the conversations or enjoy these posts. And of course, next week, and I'm sorry I'm backtracking here. I know we'll get to the cap thing in just a minute. Excuse me. We're going to actually kick the radio show off, the whole show, as far as you being able to call in. We're going to have a switchboard. We're going to have a regular studio, the whole 9 yards. We're going to kick that off Saturday the 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So remember that, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the great thing about this show, it's not going to be live on Facebook. It's an actual call-in radio show where you actually be able to participate in the conversation. So please, we will post all the information on our Facebook page. Keep it up to date. Share it. Share our Facebook page. Share this video. Get involved. I mean, after all, it's your country. Why not? You sit back and complain and bitch and gripe. And for all you listening out there, if you have little ones by, we'll let you know this is if you want to call it an R-rated show. We do curse from time to time, or I do curse from time to time on here. So with that said, if you got little ones within earshot, let them know to go away, because I'm not going to change the content or how I do the show. So with that said, make sure the little ones aren't nowhere around, or anybody that might be offended by cursing a little bit. So it's how I've been brought up, or not been brought up. If I said that, my mom would probably slap me. It's how, I was in the military for many years. You just kind of get used to it. It's part of your conversation. And we don't say anything too raunchy on here. It's just, the regular happy-go-lucky curse words, if that's what you want to call them. So, with that said, don't take offense to anything that I say on here. Like I said before, it's open for discussion. So please go to the Facebook page. If you want to become a part of the discussion, please write your comment in underneath my live stream. I promise I'll get to you. I promise I'll make it a point to answer your question. And even if you have something to say, I will also try to get your comment on the show. So please, give me a chance. I'm kind of between two screens here, so I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. I'm going to get to them. Trust me. So be a part of the conversation. You can create conversations within conversations, even on Facebook. So talk to each other. Whether you agree or disagree with me, it doesn't matter. Become a part of the conversation, because believe it or not, we have two candidates in our hemisphere right now that have become probably the most controversial candidates in the history, at least within our lifetime, in the history of a presidential race. I mean, look, we got Hillary on one side, and we got Donald Trump on the other side. And I know, I said I was going to get to Kaepernick. Don't worry, we're going to get there. Relax. And I tend to jump around, so you're just going to have to stay with me. And if you haven't popped up, in the beginning of the broadcast, you're just going to have to either rewind later on and play catch up to see where I'm at, or just follow the conversation. So with that said, we got two of the most controversial, at least in my opinion, candidates on the presidential ticket. Now we got this third guy, Johnson. Now I had asked a question. I would like everybody that's listening in tonight to at least go to the Facebook page, scroll down. We have a question. I want to thank Carrie for originally bringing this question to light, and I've since changed my viewpoint on this. But however, we're still going to go ahead. It's quite a bit down, so you have to scroll down. I might try to tag it. But we asked a really good question about, we have a non-scientific poll here for everybody that's on the show. If Trump, Clinton, and Johnson were all tied at 33% in the polls, would you Clinton voters and Trump voters still vote Clinton and Trump? Or would you might change your mind to Johnson? And of course, we would assume that the Johnson voters would still vote Johnson. So if you could do me a favor and say in the comments, I'd either change my vote to Johnson or I'd keep my vote the same. You don't have to go into context and let us know why or if, yada yada yada. But if you really think that Johnson and Weld have a chance, and just for the sake of saying, in a fantasy world, if hey, you never know, it might happen. If they were all tied at 33%. Would you change your vote, or wouldn't you change your vote, or would you stick to your candidate? I would like your opinion on that. You're gonna have to scroll down the page quite a bit. It was put in there on the 28th. So check it out. Go look at it, and we've reached a lot of people on that post, which I'm very surprised. We've had a few comments on it, and feel free to look at these comments and respond to them. That's why they have the little reply button down there. So join the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We have that page up. I know we're reaching people because my statistics are showing me that I'm reaching a broad crowd, and not only on just the right spectrum or the middle spectrum. I'm also reaching folks on the left. So please become a part of the conversation. I'm not immune to changing my mind, and maybe other people aren't as well. So again, I invite everybody to come and talk about the subjects that we have on the page. So with that said, we're going to get back into what we were talking about. Our presidential candidates have really threw us a loop this year, haven't they? And what I mean by that is we have Trump on one end, and we talked a little bit about this last week. We touched base on it. It was about a week and a half ago when I did my first show, and it was a completely random show. And again, these Facebook Live things are going to be completely random. I just might go off one day and say, you know what? I got to talk about that. I'm getting on tomorrow, or I'm getting on tonight, or I'm getting on in an hour. If you're there, then not. If not, just catch up later. But with that said, we got Trump, who tends to overreact and maybe put his foot in his mouth one too many times. Doesn't mean he's a bad presidential candidate. We have Hillary on the other end, who has broken the law numerous times. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just spewing some right-wing rhetoric here. I'm telling you the facts. I mean, it's proven. The FBI director said it in the statement himself. Look, she's broken the law. However, she's gotten away with it. Seems to be the Trump agenda. And lately, there's been this controversy or this conspiracy theory, so to speak, that people that have come up that she has known within her own cabinet, or maybe not her own cabinet, but within her own circle, that have either supported her in her foundation or supported her as Secretary of State and have actually been a part of some of these crooked dealings, are now starting to come up dead. So, I mean, that kind of raises a question. I mean, it raises concern with me as a law-abiding citizen, because I know if we were working in the same capacity as she was, that we would be held accountable. Now, I don't know. Maybe she offered the FBI director 10 more years, or at least 8 more years if she gets it, or 4 more years in his post. Maybe she cut him a deal. Maybe she didn't cut a deal. Maybe she had some dirt on him. I don't know. But it just goes to show you how corrupt the system has become, how corrupt our legislators are starting to become. And it's on both sides of the spectrum. I'm not just blaming the left. It's on the right as well. You know, I had a friend, my sister-in-law, Nicole. She's in the Navy, and thanks for your service, Nicole. She ran into Al Sharpton in an airport this weekend. Of course, she's a white young lady. Went up, took a picture with him. He seemed to be pretty personable, but one thing that he said to her struck me odd. And now, you got to look who you're talking about first before you kind of just jump to a conclusion, or maybe put him in an arena of rhetoric, so to speak. But you got to look who you're talking. What I used to say, you got to look at your target audience. Right now, the target audience is Al Sharpton. He said to her, at least this is what she said, make sure you show this picture to all your Republican friends out there. Now, why would you say something like that? Why couldn't you just say something like, hey, it was great meeting you. Show this to all your friends. Why did it have to be a political innuendo to somebody that he doesn't even know? And how does he know that she has any Republican friends? How does she know she's not? How did he know that she's not Republican? And for the record, I don't know what her political affiliation is. I would like to hope that she's not voting for Hillary Clinton, but regardless, you know, she's seen a well-known figure, took a picture with him, and his only response to that was, make sure you show your Republican friends. Now, I'm surprised he didn't say, make sure you show your white Republican friends. That would have been pure Al Sharpton at his finest, and it wouldn't, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if any of, if you meet him or Jesse Jackson or any of those, I call them, and you know what? I get a lot of flack for this from a lot of my friends who are black, and even from some of the Hispanics that I know. They don't think that he's racist, and I believe wholeheartedly, you know, with every ounce of my fiber, that guy has a racist bone in every part of his body. There's not. What he says, where he goes, some of the stuff that he you know, some of the riots that he was a part of, and he just makes the fire. You know, he puts more fire in the protesters, and he really hasn't done. And this I'm talking about Sharpton. We haven't seen Jesse Jackson too much lately, in the mainstream media, as opposed to seeing Al Sharpton in the media. But with him, you just never know what. Well, no, you actually do know what you're going to get, and that's a racist bigot pig. And yeah, you might give me a lot of shit out there, and some people might say, "Oh no, you're just saying that because he's black." It has nothing to do with whatever color you are, because I think David Duke is a freaking racist bigot too. So there, you have it from me. All right, now Kaepernick. We all know The big debate going on right now, and you know what? It's funny because now he has a following. The big debate, or not the big debate, but the big talk talk of the town is we got this quarterback who's struggling for the San Francisco 49ers. I called it. I called it when he was there in the Super Bowl. I said, he is a one and done. He will never, ever make it back to the Super Bowl because I didn't think he had great skill anyhow. I always thought Alex Smith got them to the Super Bowl in the first place, and then he just picked up the ball and ran with it. But, I mean, he did a great job. He tried to do a great job, in the Super Bowl. But he never was able to bounce back from that. Struggling superstar. All right, a lot of fans. Partial to Black Lives Matter. Partial to a lot of racist groups, at least I deem racist, Black Lives being one of them. Thinks what he done was right. Now, again, I'm not disputing whether it was right or wrong. I can only speculate by what he said in his tweets, what he said in his press interviews, and I've watched most of them, and what his statement was on why he was protesting in the first place. We all know he has the right. I'm not disputing that. Everybody in this country has a right to protest. And you're right, Carrie, my friend Carrie again. She's a liberal friend of mine. She says she's fiscally conservative, but I think that's the only thing conservative about her. She's pretty left other than that. And God bless her. I love her to death. She's great because she got me my two animals that I have currently, rescue animals right now. So I owe her a lot because... she is a good person. She's great. Her and her wife, Kathy, are awesome people. However, I don't agree with everything they say, and they don't agree with everything I say, but at least we're civil enough to debate, and that's what I was talking about earlier. She says, and I agree with her 110%, that it's not up to us to discern whether or not he was right or wrong. However, I, as a veteran, disagree with that. I don't disagree that he has a right to do what he did. I don't think everybody, whether you're a veteran or a non-vet, is disputing that. Did he piss a lot of people off? You're damn right he did. I'm one of them. I never was a big fan in the first place. Maybe he lost some fans. Maybe he gained some fans. But my point to this whole conversation, and we have this, and again, you can see this on our Facebook page. There's quite the conversation going on about it right now. So make sure you get in there and check that out too. Like I said, there's tons of conversations going on the Facebook page alone. So become a part of it. I'd love to hear what everybody has to say. I mean, this is your country. Speak up. Make a stand. Don't sit down. Make a stand on what you believe. Now, so we all know he said in his statement that he was protesting the flag and the national anthem because he felt that the country oppressed blacks and because of the police shootings. Okay. Fact number one. Do you know, Mr. Kaepernick, that every year there are more whites killed by police officers than there are blacks? Did you know that? So why aren't you protesting for that in the same context? And here's what I have a problem with Mr. Kaepernick, all right? He makes it a racial issue. And don't tell me otherwise. I don't give a shit how the left wants to frickin' spin it. He's making this a racial issue. These people that want to make it a racial issue don't understand that they're dividing us and not uniting us. So get your facts straight before you want to protest against being oppressed. And it should be this way, and I'm not disputing. Trust me, there's a lot of great programs out there, and I'm not knocking any of them. But I'm going to tell you right now that a black individual my age, and I have friends, okay, that would agree with me that are of color, and they have agreed with me. And as a matter of fact, my one buddy who's doing embassy duty in Iraq right now has said this numerous times. He goes, look, we have more opportunities to excel in this country ever than we've had in any other time period. So when I hear, and this is his quote, when I hear, this quote as a black man, when I hear of a black person telling me that they're oppressed and they can't make it, I call bullshit. He's right. Ladies and gentlemen, minorities in this country, and it's great that they have this, and it should be this way. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you a fact. Most of the minorities here in the United States have a better chance of making it than I do. Than the next guy beside me, or the next guy, or the next guy, or even females. So, what are you exactly protesting against, Kaepernick? You haven't really said. You said the oppression of black people in America and the shootings of police officers on blacks. So, with that said, what are you still exactly protesting? And nobody can tell me out there, and again, you look at the conversation that we went on between a few of us on our Facebook page, and you guys will know what we're talking about. And she raised, there was some really great points that were raised between some of the folks that had commented on that. So again, I want to say that I still don't understand what he's trying to protest and why. And I have a write-up on this. I did a little speech on this, which I'm about to post. I'm about to post on Facebook here after the show. Why the flag? Why the national anthem? What part of the flag, what part of the national anthem oppresses blacks? Tell me that. What part of the national anthem, what part of the flag, and what part of honoring our country, the same country that gave you as a black man the opportunity to make $114 million off your contract, which is $26 million a year, is making you oppressed? Tell me this, Kaepernick. Or like I stated before, tell me this, Kaepernick. Because I think you're a dick. I think you're a fucking jerk. All right? Again, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack out there. I'm not debating whether or not it was his right. Of course, it's his right to protest. But what he is protesting about, ladies and gentlemen, makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Makes not a damn dime, to me at least, it doesn't make, and to many Americans out there as well, it doesn't make a lick of sense on what he's protesting against, and why against the flag, and why against the national anthem, and why not something else that would make more of an impact. You know why? Because he's a second-rate quarterback and he needs the press. That's why. That's the only freaking reason. And I don't give a shit how the left wants to spin it. That's why. Because he knew he was about to get cut from the team, and he wanted to make some controversy to get himself into the limelight because he wants to get rehired, which he did. He's now the backup quarterback, which is where he should be in the first place, just like he was before. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who said, well, still doesn't make, you still can't tell him what to do. I'm not trying to tell him what to do. I'm giving him my opinion, which I think he was wrong in how, for what he wanted to protest. Do you have any idea why these two things are very important to our country? Star Spangled Banner was wrote by a gentleman that was witnessing a battle for our country. Many of our forefathers fought very hard to make our country, to be able to give opportunities to us because they wanted us to have something better. We're not perfect by far, and I don't dispute that with any country, but you know what? We're a hell of a lot better than a gazillion other countries that are out there. He had white parents that cared enough for him, and he's half white himself, who cared enough for him to bring him in to be able to give him this opportunity. That in itself should speak volumes to him as an individual, for his respect from others. The second thing, our flag. It has meaning. Yeah, people have died for it, and I hear a lot of veterans out there. There's even some veterans out there that are supporting Kaepernick. Again, I'm not against that. That's fine. You do what you want to do. But again, he's protesting against something that doesn't have anything to do with what he's protesting for. So again, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell and why he's protesting the flag and the national anthem. So, okay, let me get back to my original point about the flag. The flag, all right, it's a symbol of our country. It's a symbol of our freedom. It's a symbol of the people that died. It's a symbol of our purity as a country, of our democracy. And I'm telling you right now, I use that term very loosely. Of our future that we could have together. We all know what the star stood for on there originally. We all know what they stand for now. We all know what the red stood for. For those of you who don't know, that's the blood. This 13 stripes stood for the original 13 colonies. Okay? So, this represents us as a country. This represents us as Americans. Well, then a lot of the liberal left is going to say, well, he's protesting against that then, because he doesn't feel American. Okay, so you don't feel American. Again, what does that have to do with you protesting against the flag? I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to hear. Doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense to me why that gentleman, or what that gentleman is protesting about. Like I said, he wants his 15 minutes. He's getting it. And, that just solidified his second string quarterback slot, so he could still get paid $26 million a year. Now, he did state, and one of these social media groups, and again, seriously, where the hell do these freaking people come from? You gotta have some kind of sense in your head. If you're gonna go in front of millions and millions of people and you want to change something, first off, change that fucking haircut, because I don't know what the hell you're doing with that thing. How did you even fit it in a football helmet in the first place? If you want to do something very important, don't take $1 million out of your paycheck and donate it to social media groups. Number one social media group that he donates to, that he happens to be a part of, is Black Lives Matter. You all know how I feel about Black Lives Matter, which we're going to touch base on some of that here later on. So, how is that going to help change things? You're going to donate your money to social media groups. Donate it to a freaking community who could use it. Donate it to a school who could use it that is suffering because they don't have any damn books, or their chairs or their computers need work, or whatever. Donate it to some community that can benefit from it. Donate it to something like a mentorship program or a leadership program that your community can actually get something out of. Just pisses me off, these idiots. Don't donate your shit. And I'm not telling him how to donate. I'm telling him that he shouldn't be donating if he wants to make change, because that's a fact. You're not going to donate to a social group and want to make fucking change all over the world, because that's not going to happen, because we all know most of the social groups are biased anyhow. And that no real change goes there. Lots of people are donating money now to the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm talking not only a couple of dollars here and there, I'm talking millions of dollars. And what have they done with it? What have they done with that money to help their communities? Absolutely freaking nothing. And see, that's the problem. That's the problem that lies within itself right there. Why would you want to support an organization that oppresses people in the first place? Something that you're supposed to be protesting against. Let's not forget that everywhere you go that you see this Black Lives Matter movement, you see some type of violence associated with it. You see some type of oppression associated with it. Not to mention other social media groups. I'm not incorrect on that, ladies and gentlemen. Do your own research. Go out there and look at it yourself. All right? Go out there and make your own decision. Make your own informed decision. Because no matter how you want to spin it, no matter how you want to look at it, that particular social media group is not one that that is trying to better their communities. And I want to get back to the original point I was talking about before on the police shootings in America. one of the most liberal states, Illinois, mostly Democrat. Chicago's run by Democrats, been run by Democrats for many years. This year alone already, and we're only a little over halfway through the year, maybe 3/4 of the way through the year, I have over 2,500 shootings or deaths in that city already, murders. So, Mr. Kaepernick, most of them are inner city, gang-related. There you go. Do something about anti-gang. Donate to that group. Do something. Then do something rather than sitting on your frickin' ass or kneeling, especially. What a disrespectful little fuck that you're going to sit there and your friend sit there on your damn knees while you have a Marine and a Navy and an Army guy and an Air Force guy sitting in front of you folding up a flag of the United States of America. How fucking ignorant is that? And I don't give a shit how you want to spin it, all right? Honor those people. Honor those people that have sacrificed themselves so you could sit there and protest. Don't disrespect them. And you know what? There's some, like I said, there's some veterans out there that have viewed this and is like, oh, we support what he's doing. That's great. Okay, you get to do that because that's what I fought for. He didn't fight for that. Many of my friends that are on here that are listening or viewing right now, and again, boy, my views are jumping up a lot, and thanks, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate that. But my friend Matt Yarborough says, and this is in regards to Kaepernick, he says he has never lived in the hood. How would he know about the struggle? You know what? That's a great statement, Matt. I agree with that 110%. Of course, it's his right to protest and not stand, but the right cause and the right impact would be the right way. And again, another great comment by Matt Yarborough. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate your input on that. Perfect. I couldn't have said it even better myself. And again, my friend Carrie says, but it's not you're not supposed to be the one to tell him how to do things. Just because you think your way is right doesn't mean he thinks his way is right. Okay, I get it. I completely get it. I completely get it. All right. However, back to the whole Black Lives Matter movement thing. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. There's some views. There's a few folks that are already commenting on the Facebook page. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your input. Where was Black Lives Matter in Louisiana? What did you do to help the Louisianans out? Not a goddamn thing. You know, for that matter, our whole government was pretty... Well, what should I put, or how should I say it, was pretty non-existent during that whole course of action down there in Louisiana. And boy, I tell you what, that was a lot of devastation down there. They were screaming for help down there, but nobody wanted to help them. What a perfect time to show everybody that, hey, you know, we're not who everybody says we are. We're actually going to go down there and try to do something. And they didn't do a damn thing. All right. So, I heard somebody is telling me that my stream is trying to upstream is buffering. Let me see what he says here. We'll try to get this. Try to knock down your resolution if possible while I'm in the middle of a live stream or at all. All right. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm looking at my stream right now and I'm not having any problem with it. If there are some folks out there having problems with it, I'll look into that after the show. And I appreciate your input there, Jason. Thank you very much for that. So anyhow, back to what I was saying. Look, ladies and gentlemen, here's a fact about all of this. All right. The Black Lives Matter movement, I don't care how you want to look at it, is racist. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to get a lot of flack from the left on this, and I continue to get a lot of flack from the left on this. And you know what the great thing about this is? A lot of my friends, no, let me rephrase that. All of my black friends agree with me 110%. My best friend, I call him my brother. We went through hell together and back. He agrees with me 110%. He's an African American. He says, I'm not African American, I'm American. That's what he says all the time. I ain't fucking African American. I'm American. Okay, thanks, Mitch. But yeah, he's right. So even if your own race of people think that you're racist, how do you expect to get any leeway? How do you expect to make any real impact on oppression when you're part of the problem? All right. So back to Cap. So let's say we all agree that, yeah, there is a lot of oppression. I'm not disagreeing, because there is. There's a lot of oppression in the United States, and it goes on both sides of the spectrum. It's not just on one side of the spectrum. And let's not forget that, because the left liberal media will have you believe that there is only oppression on one side of the spectrum. Ladies and gentlemen, they're absolutely incorrect. There's oppression all over the place, no matter where you go. No matter what color you are, no matter what religion, creed, whatever. It's everywhere. I'm going through a little bit about it myself, and maybe I'll touch base on it, maybe I won't. All right? And this is a work-related, what's going on right now. But anyhow, so you want to talk about, Cap wants to talk about being oppressed. He wants to talk about the whole country being oppressed against blacks. He wants to talk about the police shootings. But then later on shows up with a freaking Malcolm X hat and a Fidel Castro t-shirt on. One of the worst dictators of human rights violations in the history of that region. Seriously? And you expect us to take you freaking serious when you show up to a press conference? What statement was he making there? Let's analyze this real quick. What statement was he making there, ladies and gentlemen? I want somebody to tell me, what statement was he trying to make? On one hand, here in America, we're oppressed. Are they trying to say that, or was he trying to tell us in that statement? And let's backtrack a little bit. He showed up to practice. And again, how is this helping the cause out? How is this making your cause any better? And these are the stupid decisions that people like him make that allow me not to take him serious. He shows up to practice with anti-police socks on. Okay, practice. NFL really don't give two shits about practices. They do give a crap about games, and he hasn't showed up to any games with that stuff on, any of that paraphernalia. However, my point is that he still showed up to this. So again, where are you becoming a part of the solution? And a lot of people that are in his shoes that want to make these grand statements, you know what? I got a statement to make. All right? And you heard it here first on Left, Right, Left Radio. I can't stand people that want to be entitled, that think they're entitled to every damn thing that's out there. You're not entitled to shit. My grandfather taught me one good thing, all right? And a lot of my friends out there knew my grandfather that are listening tonight. He taught me that if you work hard enough, if you want to get out there and you want to try your damnedest to get what you want, you're going to get it, or you're going to die trying. But you know what? It'll be a journey that you'll never forget. You'll learn lessons along the way, and if you didn't quite make it there, you'll learn how to make it better, so the next time you try, you'll be better at it. And you know what? He's right. Tell me if people out there haven't failed at doing things. All right, you get back up on your feet and you try and you try and you try and you try again. I'm a complete example of that. I'm going through cancer right now. Am I let it getting me down? No, of course not. Do I have my bouts where I think a lot about what's going on? Of course, who doesn't when they have a life-threatening disease? I'm not the exception to the rule on that. But I don't let it get me down to the fact that, it destroys everything about me. I'm still plugging in. I'm still doing these shows. I'm going to try to do the shows. I'm going to try to be proactive in doing something, okay? And that's the message here. And I think Kaepernick is failing miserably at that message. And it pains me because people that are in his position, that have that ability for millions, literally millions and millions of people to listen to what he has to say, and he doesn't really have anything to say. So I'm hugely disappointed. Yeah, he could have done it differently, and he should have done it differently, and he still has a chance to redeem himself in front of many Americans and people like myself. Now, I love the NFL. I love football. I don't mind watching Kaepernick. I like watching what I seen in the Super Bowl. I always thought he was a decent quarterback. I didn't think he was a great quarterback. And like I said before, I always thought that he would be a one and done. I never thought he would make it back to the Super Bowl, but it still doesn't mean that I thought he was a bad quarterback. He was a decent quarterback. But again, that's kind of getting off subject here. But my point with that is, so I'm not kind of reaching out, and I know a lot of people said, oh, well, you're just saying that because he's black. It doesn't have any freaking thing to do with what color he is. I would have said it if he was a white guy that sat down, if it was a white guy that sat down, which, if I'm thinking about this correctly, there isn't one that's doing the same thing that he's doing. Now, I guess there's a Seattle guy that's doing it. I'd say I stand corrected on that. There was a Seattle kicker that really nobody knows about. I guess he wants his 15 minutes too, or safety. I can't remember. That's how much I pay attention to the Seattle Suckhawks. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, for those of you out there who care to want to know. And go Chiefs. So, with that said, there's better ways of doing things. There's more ways to do things that will give you a better way of a better impact on how things can get accomplished. And like I said, it just pains me with people in that position, that people are in that same position that he's in, and they do it half-assed. And then they want to give their money to organizations that really are part of the problem and not part of the solution. I mean, it's a fact. All right, so enough about Cap. I think he's a jerk. I think he's a dickhead. However, before we go, I'm going to read something to you, ladies and gentlemen, on why, give you my 2 reasons why I think Kaepernick was wrong for how he expressed himself. Let's begin with the obvious. Kaepernick has the right to stand or sit when the national anthem is played. That is not being disputed here. He also has the right to express his views on our national challenges regarding racism, violence, and poverty. Again, no dispute about that. And it's tragically clear that America has not yet achieved a lot of those rationalities yet on racial equality or economic equality. There is a lot of stuff out there that we need work on. We know it. And again, I said before, we're not a perfect country. However, I disagree with the way Kaepernick has expressed his convictions for 2 reasons. 1, he is wrong to define the meaning of the flag. Kaepernick claims that the American flag represents justice and that so long as oppression remains, he will sit while the flag is honored. That may be what it means to him, but that's not what the flag means. Period. Flag represents our freedom, those who have died in its defense. While Kaepernick has expressed his gratitude for the military, which we appreciate, he should know that many see his actions as disrespecting the people who have died for our country. That's a fact. The anthem Kaepernick refuses to honor calls America the land of the free and the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. Precisely it. It's the land of the free, home of the brave. No dispute about that. I'm a veteran myself. All right, I've been on the front lines, and I've known many people who have been on the front lines in defense of our country. I freely acknowledge today that we have a debt to our military and a debt to our police officers that myself or anybody else cannot repay. Most Americans feel this way, this exact way. Being a police officer is not an easy job. As a matter of fact, when we talked about it, I know I'm getting sidetracked here again, and I told you I'd do this, but go back to the whole Chicago thing. A lot when asked about the police officers, why is there so much crime? Because the police officers don't want to go into those high-ridden crime areas because, number one, if there's another shooting that happens, they're afraid to pull the trigger because they don't want to become the next controversy in American racism, even though it's not true. I don't blame them. I really don't. Being a police officer is a very hard job, and I'm glad I'm not a police officer. I couldn't become a police officer. I don't think I could do the job. Number 2, and this is what I talked about before. He should be the change he wants to see. Kaepernick is guaranteed to make $11.9 million a year, part of his $126 million 6-year guaranteed contract. Some are saying that his wealth where the hell did that come from? Disqualifies him to speak on poverty, a claim with which I disagree. I think anybody's able to speak on that. However, his affluence does open him to charges of hypocrisy if he is not working personally to help those in need. Now, he's reportedly been generous to social media outlets, but I couldn't find anything online to indicate that he has been involved in efforts to help impoverished folks. If he wants to work for justice and relieve oppression, he should find practical ways to model such worthy service. Not become a resounding voice box on his Twitter and social media accounts for the Black Lives Matter movement. Then we would not be debating his patriotism, but we'd be following his example. And that's what I say to you, Colin Kaepernick, which we probably know he ain't going to give two rats' ass to watch this, and who knows, maybe he doesn't. He did respond, or at least maybe his press agent did respond to a couple of my tweets. Become the standard. Become this part of the solution. Become the example. Kids idolize you. Children, inner city kids, even people my age, they look up to you, and you're a focal point for a lot of controversy right now. So do the right thing. Be the fucking example. Put your money where your mouth is. Go help some community. Go help some impoverished, oppressed people. Then I'll apologize for everything I just said. Now, maybe not, but the thought was good at least. All right. So I'm going to hit refresh on the Facebook page here to see if there's any more, questions, comments, or concerns. Again, okay, Matt, no problem. Well, hopefully you'll watch the rest of the show here. We're going to close up shop here in a few minutes after I talk about Trump. Excuse me. But just you got to be part of the solution. You got to be willing to provide solutions. Sitting down on a national level, sitting down, get up off your ass and do something. All right, and I'm not going to say anything more about Kaepernick. I think he's doing. I really believe that there are better ways that he could do this. And yeah, maybe it's not for me to judge on how he does it, and I don't. But it still doesn't relieve me of my opinion on how he should handle it. All right, okay. Jason, if it's on Firefox, I got a question here about that. I will let you know that Firefox will give it, like I stated before, Firefox is giving Facebook Live a little bit of an issue. So use your Chrome web browser if you have it. Use your Chrome web browser. All right, and no problem. You're not interrupting anything, brother. Like I said, I field questions throughout the whole source of the show, so you're definitely not an interruption. I appreciate your feedback, and I hope you may be contributing to some of the conversation, or at least adding a comment in there. I'd like to hear from you, because I know you got one. All right. Trump visits Mexico this week, or last week, whenever it was. A lot of people gave him a lot of flack for going to Mexico, all right? They thought, and this, again, excuse me a minute. This is from the liberal left. They thought Trump was going to go out there and blow his horn and not act presidential and put his foot in his mouth as soon as he got in country. A lot of people thought he was going to get shot. The cartels were going to kill him, yada, 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 yada. Nothing happened. Trump came back okay. Believe that, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? He didn't shoot off at the mouth at all. So a lot of people are giving him flack about going to Mexico. Why did you go to Mexico? You hate Mexicans. Never said once. And see, again, I have problems with people. And let's be honest. The only reason why I'm voting for Trump is because, okay, there's two reasons why I'm voting for Trump. Because he's a lesser of the two evils, number one. And again, we're always put in this position, and I think it's bullshit that we have to be put in this position as Americans. Number two, I believe that we do have to have somebody from the outside come and clean house in Congress, the Senate, and how we do things in general. Will I think he'll do it? I don't know. That's remain to be seen. But nevertheless, I do like his tax plan. I do like a lot of things that he says. Some of the things are way out there in left field, but not that Hillary hasn't said anything. And do us all a favor, Hillary. Tell Biden to shut the hell up. Nobody gives two rats' ass about what he says. I mean, that guy's even more kookier and says even a lot more crazy shit than what Trump says, but yet nobody gives him crap about it. Of course not, because that's Joe Biden. That's Obama's right-hand man. Let's not talk about that. So here's 6 takeaways, in my opinion, about the whole Trump visit to Mexico. Number one, I thought he looked and acted very presidential. I watched his speech. I listened to it again, and a friend of mine, and I use that term because I've been conversing with him. I'm trying to get him on the show, and hopefully we'll get him on the radio show here in the near future. Ben Shapiro happens to agree, and he's not a big Trump supporter. Of course, he's voting for him over Hillary because he thinks Hillary's evil, which I happen to agree. But with that said, he thought he was very presidential as well. He agreed with me. He looked very presidential. He acted very presidential. Maybe at the start, he looked a little bit out of his element. But, as time progressed, he did a great job on his speech. I mean, you got to give him props where props is due. He gave a great speech. He conversed. Number two, came to a cheering crowd. Never thought you'd see that, huh? What the fuck, libtards? Didn't think you'd see that, huh? They thought he would get, like I said, he thought he would get tomatoed at the front door. But no, there was some people that were cheering and welcoming him. Very welcoming people. This is a big one for me. All right. He conversed with the president of Mexico about the issues. He didn't try to sugarcoat anything. I like that. Now, they didn't talk about the wall. Of course, that his far-fetched idea about how he's going to get Mexico to pay for that wall. Whatever. That's just Trump being Trump. Yeah, and I know that's not an excuse, but it is what it is. All right. That's like Hillary saying, oh, I sent 33,000 emails. I don't know where they came from. Yeah, whatever. Bullshit. So that's Hillary being Hillary. That's Trump being Trump. You can't hold him accountable for that. Whatever. All right. With this number 4, he actually raised himself in the polls. The polls are getting tighter with him and Hillary, and that's something that I'm glad to see. And, they did a poll, and I even went to the Huffington Post, which we all know is liberal. I went to Washington Post, which we all know is a liberal counterpart. The Clinton News Network, CNN, which we all know who they're for. And most of those, all of them that I went to, did a poll, and most Americans agreed that he should have went to Mexico and did what he did. They were in support of it. So when I hear Hillary Clinton giving a speech, of course, she's got to attack him. And this is what I was kind of saying before about you want to try to get those voters, and this was the first program that we had. You want to try to get those voters that are still scratching their head and wondering, should I vote for Hillary? Should I vote for Trump? I don't know. But then when you see Hillary attacking him right away, where maybe she would have gotten some of those votes and maybe she would have actually raised herself in the polls if she would have said, hey, great job, Mr. Trump, yada, 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 yada. But she didn't. She attacked him right away. Her fault. Now she's going down in the polls for it. I think it's something that she was trying to capitalize off, and it miserably backfired on her. And my last one, he gained tons of support on the left. Oh my God, did I just say that? Yes, on the left and on the right. Right, left. Of course, that's the way I'm looking. So this is actually left and this is actually right. All right, I had a Bush moment. Everybody, don't fault me for it, okay? But yeah, I mean, tons of support from both sides of the spectrum, from the left and from the right. So with that said, you hear the liberal media, trying to shotgun blast it. And of course, you gotta love how the libtard media just takes little bits and pieces of the speeches and they thread them together to make a spin on it, to make it look like Trump put his foot in his mouth, when in all actual reality, he didn't. They didn't have a conversation about the wall. Pena said something that they weren't going to pay for the wall. Okay, but there still wasn't a conversation about it. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He didn't lie about that. All right. So no matter how you want to spin it, CNN, he didn't bullshit his way through it this time. He did a damn good job down here. I actually thought, I was kind of scared for him in the beginning, for him to be down there, because I didn't think he would actually do a good job. And that's sad to say, because like I said, I am a Trump supporter. But again, with that said, I'm glad he did go down there, and I'm glad that he did we got to see a side of Trump that was more presidential, and we got to see a little bit of foreign policy from him. So I mean, that was I thought it was a good move on the Trump part. It was a great move as far as I'm concerned on the Trump part. All right. Got a couple of more minutes before I want to close the show out. I'm kind of over my hour mark where I wanted to be. But I got to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what? Every single day, no matter what, we're running into it on social media all over the place. We're running into it on the news still. We're running into it, even when I pick up a newspaper. And those things, newspapers, remember that? I still get one. Sometimes it's all over the front page of the news. I am sick and tired of seeing that Black Lives Matter that social group. That's all they are. They're a fucking social group, because they haven't done anything in the community to bolster the community, or even to fix the community. You know what? You want to impress me? This is a challenge to any Black Lives Matter member, so to speak, out there, or any hierarchy from the Black Lives Matter group. And I'm going to ping this on Twitter so you can actually listen to this and see this. This is a challenge to each and every one of you. And if you do this, or if you kind of get into this spectrum, I'll have a newfound respect for you. But until then, I don't have any respect for you. And maybe I don't mean diddly squat to you, but you know what? There's a lot of people out there that feel the same way, black and white, like I do. Get out there and start being a part of your communities and doing something positive. Don't have these protests where they incite violence, incite racism, incite separation, incite division. That's not what this country's about. As a matter of fact, I believe the second word is the United States of America. So don't become a part of the problem. I mean, I'm sick and tired of hearing how fucking oppressed you are, and how, you want to get out there and tell everybody that that life's not so good for you, and that nobody gives you what you're owed. You're not owed a goddamn thing. So don't. And that, again, we're gonna get on another tangent. And I like to fly off on tangents, but I'm trying to stay on target here. Look, Black Lives Matter, folks. Let me tell you something. All right, get it through your thick frickin' skull. Do something positive in your communities. Get out there and actually make a great impact that's going to positively impact your community and the areas that you work with. Don't get out there and incite riots. Don't get out there and we all use the Baltimore riots. I mean, come on, Milwaukee too, and even in Harrisburg, we had our own little protest against it. I've been trying to get those people. This stops now, Harrisburg. They're part of the Black Lives Movement. It's a splinter cell, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, of the Black Lives Matter. I've been trying to get them on the show for weeks now. They're afraid to come on because they know, people like me, when we ask them the tough questions, they want to tap dance around it. When we try to remind them, no, that's not the question we asked. Answer the question. They don't want to answer the question, so they don't want to be a part of programs like ours, because they know that they know in their heart that they're racist, and they know in their heart that they're not doing anything positive for the communities, and we're going to call them out on it. So I challenge every Black Lives Matters movement out there to do something positive for your community. All right, you're getting millions of dollars from rich people like like Kaepernick, all right, you're getting millions of dollars of donations all over the country. Start putting that money to good use. Start putting that money where it's actually going to matter. Don't turn into an offshoot of the Black Panthers, because look, you know what? Everybody gives KKK shit, and they should, because that's a fucking bigot, racist organization as well. But nobody gives a Black Panther shit about shit, and that's wrong. Okay, they're the same as the KKK as far as I'm concerned. They're just the different side of the different. They're just black instead of white. They do the same freaking thing that the KKK does on their side. So I don't want to hear that crap about Black Panther this, Black Panther that, or Black Lives Matter this, Black Lives Matter that. And I invite every white person out there as well. If you live in an inner city, okay, if you live in these high crime areas, become a part of the solution. Don't become part of the problem, because again, our country they like to capitalize off the issues, but they don't like to capitalize off the solutions. And I think that in itself is a huge issue, and has become they will become a part of that problem, and they help blow that problem up bigger than what it already is. You know, we all know the liberal left media likes to divide us. In closing, we all know that they're not biased. Or unbiased, I'm sorry. They are biased. They're not unbiased. We all know conservative shows like myself. I'm the first to tell you I'm not going to be biased, because this is an opinionated show. Now, I had a friend of mine who is a diehard Democrat. He's voting Hillary. And I asked him why he's voting Hillary. You know what he told me? I'm staying on party lines. We could go another hour into that. You know what? Maybe we'll touch on that next show. But he again, people like that need to understand that they need to do their research. They need to go out there and they need to be informed. But again, don't become part of the problem. Become part of the solution. In closing, Kaepernick, get your shit straight. All right. We know you're pissed. We know you're sad that you're the second string quarterback when you think you should be the first string quarterback. We know you want your 15 minutes of fame, so you got it. Now do something constructive with it. Do something positive with it. Make an impact with it. Don't tell me you're going to donate $1 million out of your salary to social media organizations, and the main one being Black Lives Matter, because that ain't going to do squat to make people like me believe in what you're doing. And with that said, I want to thank everybody again for coming to my show. You listened to my rants long enough tonight. Catch us on Facebook. Catch us on starting September 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Left, Right, Left radio show will be live, going on the air. You'll catch us for about 2 hours. We're going to go from 8 to 10, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will post all the information on our Facebook page. That's basically where you will find most of our information, and we'll post it as well on our Twitter page. Now, real quick, everybody asks me, why don't you have an actual web page? Because right now, Facebook gives us everything we need as a platform. It gives us the ability to communicate with other people. It gives us raw statistics on people that actually come and communicate and participate and actually read our information. It gives us everything a website would give. So why should we get another website up? Where it'll just be 2 more things that you have to go look when we can have everything right there on Facebook. And until we can find a better platform, that's what we're going to use. Again, I want to thank everybody for commenting. I want to thank for all the great views I've had here tonight. And you'll see me next time here very soon. This is Big Sarge. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Left, Right, Left Radio.